The United States, China, Russia and Pakistan are holding talks on the deteriorating security situation in Afghanistan. The Taliban has made rapid advances across the country. In less than a week, it's captured 9 cities and is threatening to take more. For more, let's speak to Abdul Basit at the S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies here in Singapore. Good evening, Mr. Basit. Many different interests at play here. You've got the United States, China, Russia, Pakistan meeting. What do you expect to come out of these talks?
So, the immediate concern of this meeting will be to come to some common agreement to reduce violence. Ideally, a ceasefire. That is, I think, one common demand from all these countries. The other one would be to take the situation, if there is a ceasefire, towards a politically negotiated settlement so that the current chaos that we are witnessing, it comes to a halt. And the third point, I think, that these countries will impress upon the Taliban is that the reconstitution of their self-styled Islamic Emirate, which is their Sharia system, that is not acceptable. So they have to come to some kind of a political compromise with the current government so that a broad-based unity government is formed in the larger interest of peace. I think these will be the 3 main agendas of the meeting today.
And do you think that the Taliban is likely to bow down to international pressure at all?
So far, we have seen that they have not, and the kind of momentum that they are having right now. If you look at the military logic of it seems quite difficult that Taliban will listen to it. But then it will have its own repercussions for the Taliban. For instance, the UN meeting a few days before this meeting in Doha. Clearly, the international community's opinion was that the reconstitution of an Islamic Emirate by the Taliban will result in a pariah state for them. So that's the cost that they will have to pay. So they know what the cost is. So I think in this meeting, what these countries are going to do, they will outline the incentives for the Taliban if they reduce violence and move towards a politically negotiated settlement. On the contrary, if they continue with their military offensive that we are currently witnessing, then it will have its own penalties, one of which will be, they will be isolated, they will not be given the recognition, and hence they will be a pariah state. Second, there will be no international assistance for the Taliban regime if they do not listen to these demands.
At the same time, Mr. Basit, China has been meeting with top Taliban officials. What's Beijing's motivation for this, and what do you think it can achieve?
So the way United States has left Afghanistan, it has created a huge security vacuum. So far, the presence of the United States, while all different regional countries were apprehensive of it, given their adversarial positions towards the United States. At the same time, paradoxically, the American presence kept various threats, asymmetric threats of terrorism and insurgency under check for these regional countries. Now that when the US has withdrawn, these countries have to come in and do something about their own security interests. So I think China's immediate interest is that the destabilization from Afghanistan doesn't spill over into China, particularly the Xinjiang province, where in Afghanistan's Badakhshan province, which shares borders with China's Wakhan corridor opening into Xinjiang, the East Turkestan Islamic movement is based there, that they do not start, infiltrating into China. So that is the immediate Chinese concern. And I think that was one of the topics which came up during the meeting of the Chinese foreign minister with Mullah Brother, who is the deputy head of Taliban's Doha office. And I think the other aspect of that meeting were to impress upon the Taliban to enter into negotiations with Kabul. So currently what China is doing, it is keeping its doors and engagements open with Kabul as well as with the Taliban, because it will have to work with both of them to manage the chaos and make sure it doesn't spill over into China and protects interest. At the same time, play the role of a mediator to push these two sides towards to reach some kind of settlement. This role that China will play as a mediator will be at the bilateral level as well, and it will be at various multilateral forums, whether it is the UN, whether it is the current meeting of the Troika, extended Troika in Doha, or from the Shanghai Cooperation Organization.
Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us this evening. Abdul Basit, Research Fellow at the S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies here in Singapore.